Hello, everybody. I'm Sage with Autonomy on the other side, and we're going to break down a lot of the things that you have been thinking about. But first of all, Autonomy, good to have you.
Hey, happy to be here.
And
Thank you, brother.
you're one of the wisest people I know. So if there's anybody I want to break bread with and talk about some of the things that I think America needs to talk to and about, it's you, and about those shootings over the past couple of weeks, one in New York and Buffalo, and the other one with these tragic 19 souls and two teachers, of course, in Texas. Let's talk about that, break that down first. What's your feeling about this situation in both shootings and all the shootings that we've had so far? What's your feeling? Talk to me.
You know, it's interesting. This thing has to be really analyzed, and looked at without emotions. We have a sober mind when we deal with these issues. It appears to be a pattern. It seems like every week there's a shooting, a massacre, killings and things, and we have to really put aside our emotions and really look at these things logically and reasonably. And my take is that, this is a society that says that the problems with the nation and with the cities, bringing it down to the cities and the states, that there's something wrong with individuals. These individuals are going out killing and shooting and killing people, and they're heartless and they're evil, right? But then we got to, what we have to recognize is this, that individuals are products of the social system. See, the individual is affected by the social system because the social system creates the individual. The individual mind, his understanding of the world, his education, his upbringing, his family life, all is connected to those who have positions of power to create institutions that will instill. See, the word institution means to instill. The root meaning of the word institution, to instill, to put in, to pour into. So the individual is a product of a social system, and that must be understood. But if you don't understand that clearly, then you would blame the individuals and their activities. You would focus on the activities of individuals. You will focus on the psychology of individuals. But once again, the psychology of people in a system, in a society, is created by the institutions that instill the information, thought process, media, symbols, images, and education poured into the individual from the system.
And the system has done a wonderful job, if you want to talk about how to control individuals. Look, we have PhDs, Autonomy, and they're speaking about these shooting situations that have happened all over the country. And they've all got an idea what their education tells them. But let's take a look at the system itself. You've got movies coming out like Halloween and Saw and every evil type of movie that you can think of being sprinkled down from above. You've got video games that people are using violent weapons in video games, and kids love those games. They sell more than any other game. We got a culture of entertainment. You pay the teacher $30,000 a year, and you pay the entertainer, the athlete, $500 million over 5 years. So you got a system, as you were saying, that is breeding these type of individuals who have the potential for harm. And so it is a system that we've got to, anything we talk about is all about, when we get together, Autonomy, it's all about getting to the root. So I tell listeners, if we talk about a subject, we're not going to talk about it in the branches. We're not going to, we're going to take it all the way to the root of the situation, the shooting situations over the past, once they can, we talk about those weapons, an 18-year-old kid getting a chance to buy weapons that they use in war. Now, if that's not a culture going wild, you can actually have an 18-year-old kid, your son, 18 years old, can go out and get 2 assault rifles, go home like nobody's business. Talk to me, Autonomy, talk to me.
Exactly. See, this society promotes violence. Every movie that you go to, every movie that's considered a good movie, to have you sitting on the edge of your seat, it deals with fear, violence, explosion, killing, murderer. Every TV show, every 30-minute TV show deals with violence, shootings, and killings. This is a gun culture, right? America was established with the gun.
It's true.
America to this day have celebrations dedicated to Samuel Colt, one of the inventors of the revolver, right?
Mm,
So here's a culture that promotes and propagates violence in its entertainment, in its movies, in the Netflix. Every movie you see got killing in it. You'll see 100 killings in 1 week in the movie TV shows that you look at, right?
mm,
And then you got kids sitting at home playing these videos of war games where you just shoot and it show real blood on the screen and the blood looks almost real, you know?
right, right.
And these kids are sitting in their bedrooms at home and playing these games, you know, and you're looking at the violence in the television shows and the movies and everything, and then wonder why there's violence, you know, in the society.
And they say, autonomy. They say, um, take all these weapons that have been used in all of these killings, mass killings so far in this country, and they've all been the same type of weapon that is done to killing. Now they can take these weapons off the market, but individuals who want to do harm will find a way to get them on the black market. And the root of the problem, as we were talking about in this podcast, is there's a history. There's the root of this situation that gets to everything that could be added to a situation to make a harvest like the one we have. You've got entertainment, you've got sports, you've got education that we can talk about education for a little bit, but all these dynamics, if you put them into one, what you get a harvest like we've been seeing. So we hope that we don't see any more of these type of shootings, but these type of weapons are out there. These type of individuals are out there. We can talk about Buffalo, New York, and we'll get to that because that was just a situation where an individual came into a society that he knew was Nubian, and he had the evil in his spirit to do what he did. There are individuals out there that feel the same way individuals did during the 1700s, that same mindset. And as long as if America exists, that mindset is going to be out there. So I think we talked about this before when we talked about, our people, Nubian people, securing our own neighborhoods and making sure that we can control and at least protect our youth and our citizens. Jewish people do it in their communities. Why can't we?
Absolutely. Now check this out. We just got off the carousel of fear. See, this society is a subtle and cunning society, right? Those in leadership, these elitists, right? The carousel, we just got off the fear carousel of COVID, right? Now, since we casually getting off that, right? Now they're coming up with the new monkeypox, right? And it's interesting to use the word monkey, right? And now
Where'd that word come
now,
from?
huh?
Where'd that word come from?
Yeah, they just pull it out of rabbit out of the hat, right? And now the new fear is now people are people these lone wolves that's going out killing people and they're everywhere now. Now people are afraid to leave their homes, right?
But you know what?
Now-
We talked about that, and I think you talked about this very eloquently when you said that this may be the idea that keep people in their homes and afraid to go out, because when you have these type of things happen, that's just where people stand. Go ahead.
Right, because they know fear is a part of control. That was a TV series called Get Smart. You remember Get Smart with Don Adams? He was the
99.
bungling secret agent, and his girl and his friend, his other agent, his partner was Agent 99, right?
Yes.
99, right?
Yes.
And the organization, the good organization was called Control, and the bad organization was called Chaos, right?
Yes.
See, in a system of domination, in order to maintain control, you have to create chaos. And you create chaos through fear, right? So they're promoting the fear factor. What is the agenda? The agenda is this. They understand that, I'm going to say it. It needs to be said.
Okay. Break it down. Break it down.
The West is losing global power. Their supremacy of dominating the world is waning, right?
Yes.
So what must they do? Well,
okay. Chaos comes from,
yeah,
yes.
they had to create chaos. These are distractions, right?
Yes.
Because now they're gonna have to pull their belt tight, right? So in order, fear is a part of control. Control is a part of, now you're gonna see our freedoms slowly snatched away, and we're gonna comply, because they used fear to make you comply with stealing your freedoms, right? So scare the people to death, and they'll give up their freedoms.
Yeah.
They'll give up their freedoms with a smile on their face.
I want to talk about this for a second. This is important. Dr. Claude Anderson, you know, obviously you know him, and you told me an incredible story about Dr. Anderson and yourself, and how judicious of a man he is. We can talk about that if you want to, but I just want to tell everybody that this man, if you get a chance, go Google him, buy some of his product. But Black Labor, White Wealth, incredible subject matter. Great reading for you and your kids, or college kids out there. This is great reading, a must reading. And Dr. Claude Anderson, I just wish more people would understand how valuable, while he lives, he is to Nubian people in this country and around the world. I want to talk about Dr. Claude Anderson, because you told me a story in regards to Dr. Anderson that was phenomenal. But that's the kind of character he is. I don't think he gets enough acclaim for the treasure that he is to Nubian people in this country.
Yeah, he's an exceptional man. We need to, Black people, Nubian people, I'm going to get rid of that word black, because we know what that word represents. It's an abstraction, and
Yes.
it's a negative extraction, and it's an abstraction, and it's a term, you know, that works against us identifying with blackness, because we're not black. Yeah, we are people who have been kissed by the sun. We are melanated people, and we are connected with the sun. We are the sons and daughters of the sun. So with Dr. Claude Anderson, Black Nubian people, I gotta get that out of my context.
You will, believe me.
Nubian people need to choose a leader amongst ourselves, outside of this political circus, outside of politics. And we have to come together collectively and say, this will be our representative. I don't even like the word leader. This would be our representative. This man will speak for our interests, and we are operating in the interests of Black folks, and step out of the circus arena called elections and politics and all that foolishness. Because the elections and voting have done anything for us. We're still in the same circumstances, certain conditions. As a matter of fact, our birth rate is declining. Our communities are collapsing. We have no economic structure. We're just a people, a boat without a rudder. You know, we have no culture, because we don't even understand the concept of culture. And I think it was Marcus Garvey said, a people without culture is like a tree without roots. And that's what we are. We have no roots. We have no culture. Because in order to have a culture, you must have a collective identity. But since we don't have a collective identity, because we're trying to be everything other than who we really are, you know, and that has to be analyzed. That must be looked at with a sober mind, so we can clearly come and reconnect with reality. Because right now, from what we believe in, what we hold to be true, it's false. And our beliefs and truths are false, because the circumstances of our lives are not in harmony or consistent or in accord with our beliefs and truths.
I want to tell every parent out there, and every young person listening, integration doesn't mean you have to not understand your history and who you really are. And sometimes integration can mean that our habits and our culture is that of the ones we live with and around. And I think it has harmed us because a lot of the things we have accepted in part of our culture is helping to destroy us. Let's be frank about this. And people out there, Nubian people, if I'm wrong, let me know. Let me know, comment. But the things that we are attracted to are the things that are causing us the most harm. How can we have 14% of the land in this country was African American, Nubian owned, African American owned in the 20s, 1920? There were over 300,000 farmers back then. Now in 2022, we should have about 1 million farmers. If we had 300,000 in 1920, we got 35,000 farmers, folks, right now. We own 1% of the land in this country. We own 14% of the land in this country in 1920. Are we going backwards? I asked you that.
Absolutely, because land is the source. Without land, you would have a landlord, right? And since we don't have land, land is what gives you independence and freedom. See, that's why they refused after the Civil War. They promised Sherman field order. I think it's field order 21 decided that, hey, the blacks fought and helped the Union defeat the Confederacy, right? Yes. So Sherman, a decent man, said, hey, these black soldiers, they fought valiantly and they died on the battlefield so that the Union can become a reality. So he promised, he spoke to Lincoln and said, Lincoln, let's give the slaves, our ex-slaves, 40 acres and a mule and $100. They don't talk about that part, the 40 acres and a mule, right?
Yeah.
But old Andrew Johnson came in after after Lincoln was assassinated, right?
Yes.
Andrew Johnson came in and he reneged on the 40 acres and a mule. And now blacks were left with nothing to wander around and be caught and arrested for vagrancy, arrested for not having a job, arrested for just standing around with nothing to do.
Well, even the slave owners were compensated for the loss of their income and their asset. The government paid them, I think, $500 per slave, which probably amounts to today's money about about maybe $10,000 per slave. And so they were compensated for enslaving a people. So, there we can doss this thing all the way around, but the bottom line for Nubian people is, yes, you have to understand that the system in this country has maintained its secure dominance over us, and but we can do something about that by organizing and understanding that if this thing is going to change, we got to put our communities first. And I don't know if that can happen at this point, but that's the only alternative we have.
Absolutely. We need a new narrative. We need to step outside of and get out of the subculture we're under and create and rename ourselves and redefine ourselves. And we have to have the courage to do this. If not, we're dying already. So you at least should stand up on your feet and get off your knees. There's the time they say, black folks say all you have to do is pray. But when you pray, you become the prey. We got to stand up.
I like that.
Yeah, we have to stand up and we got to let the world know. And the rest of the world is waiting for blacks, for Nubians to stand up.
Stand up.
Yes, because we are the inspiration of the world. Culturally, the music, everything about us, the dance, we are the cultural innovators of the world. But now we need to move into cultural integrity. Right. As a brother Taharka said, we need to move in, we need to have cultural privacy. We need to tell the world we're gonna exist and we don't need your affirmation or confirmation to exist on this planet Earth. We have a right to be who we are and exist, and we will fight for it to maintain our existence on this planet Earth. And that's where we have to stand and be who we need to be. and quit playing around in this crazy, insane world. And we need to create our own perspective, our own point of view when we look at the world. And that's why me and this brother here, we're trying to bring a new narrative. We're trying to bring a new perspective so that we can come out from under the foot of these psychopaths.
You look at it, and I want to tell every Nubian person out there, hey, listen, you know, if we can go back and look at some of the ancestors of our history, you may have forgotten about them, but they went through tougher times than what you see today, and these are tough times, and they overcame them. That's why we're still here. So I think a lot of times, Autonomy, we just need to go back into our roots, into the root of our history, and deal with who we really are. Once we find out we are not who we were told that we were. Even the word black says that if you look at the synonym of the word black, we're called black all day long. You look at the synonym in the dictionary, it says black is God forbidden. Now, if you believe that black is God forbidden and we're calling ourselves black, the synonym is the same as the word that you're using. Same, you say shut the door and you say close the door, same thing. So when you say black, it's the same thing as saying God forbidden, because God forbidden is the synonym, one of them. Another one is nasty, dirty. Have you seen the synonyms for black? And you look at white and it says pure, decent, honest. So they're describing one as being pure and decent and the other as being nasty and dirty. And this is what's in the dictionary. And this is what they're saying about that. This is why we're trying to get out of that word black. It's not us. It's a spell that's been placed on us, and we actually use that word ourselves, but we shouldn't. Nubian is the new word, and that's what Autonomy and Sage is bringing to this world.
Nubian, from the word land Tasseti. Nub, N-U-B, means the skin that shines like gold and skin that shines like the sun. That's from the ancestors.
Wow.
Nub. Matter of fact, the British took it and turned the U into an O, and it became Nob, the Nob, or the nobleman. Noble from Nub, N-B, the consonant of N and B, Nub, from the ancient land of Tasseti, the land of the bow. Nub, the skin that shines like gold and like the sun. Nubian.
You got to go through that every podcast. I like that, man.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, we gotta find our ancestral mind. It's still there.
Still there. But we were bought,
gotta...
we were bought a false energy. It was like buying a jacket that's 2 or 3 sizes for you. You can't fit that. And that culture doesn't fit, it doesn't even fit them. It doesn't fit us. We are good people. We have great hearts. We're talented people, to be sure. And if you see what we've done on the basketball court and the football field, we're even more dangerous in engineering and science.
And we were. And our ancestors were.
And we are.
Some of the greatest minds.
Yes.
Even Imhotep, multi-genius, right?
Go to the CDC. Go to the CDC and look where many of those people in the CDC, what color they are.
Exactly. All these inventions that the cell phone is come out of the Nubian mind. All these things, these inventions that made America this so-called great nation that it appears to be, right? Came from the minds of Nubian people. George Washington Carver's an endless list, right? And when I found out it was a Nubian mind that created the cruise missile, man, that kind of broke my heart right there, right?
Yes, yes. I mean,
a Nubian mind was the innovator of the cruise missile. Wow. That's why if you don't know who you are, you will work in the interest against yourself, right? That's why you have to know who you are and really look into the history. Because if you don't look in history, if you don't have a historical mind, you will have a hysterical mind, the very opposite. And if you understand language, hysterical and historical is actually the same word. You just move a few vowels around, it's the same word. Because you're going to be an emotional person. When you're hysterical, you operate in emotions. But if you have a hysterical mind, you operate on logic and reason.
I can't wait till
So
next week. We're going to be talking about religion. One of the things we want to talk about. And I'm going to, just point out to anybody that has a certain type of religious belief out there. Listen, if you want to, we're not trying to knock anybody, but if we believe something is true to us, it's our job to get that information out and talk about it. And I mean that.
yeah, religion has to be addressed. A renaissance of our minds, a rebirth and reconnect back to logic and reason. The religious institution, as far as in the Black community, has to be questioned. Because check this, listen to this clearly. Make sure you understand this very clearly. What you believe to be true and what you believe is real, your truths and beliefs must be in accord or consistent or in harmony with the circumstances of your life. If the circumstances of your life are not in harmony or consistent or agree with what you believe and hold to be true, your beliefs and truths are false, regardless of your sincerity and devotion to your beliefs and truths. Because what validates your beliefs and truths is the positive and progressive circumstances of your life. And the circumstances of our life as a people starkly revealed that our beliefs and truths are false.
All right, don't give me anything more, but you save some, because we're going to leave some of that for next week's show. Religion, one of the topics that Autonomy and Sage will be discussing next week, and also the cost of living. That's
Oh
big
my
time.
goodness. we really got to talk about the cost of living. You got to pay to live on this earth. That's insane.
That's where we are.
But
So
see,
again, go ahead. I'm sorry, Autonomy.
that's when the abnormal becomes normal. People don't realize that the world is abnormal. And through the imposition of power and those in positions of power controlling media and institutions and everything, they can make the abnormal appear to be normal. They call it the normative. The normal, when abnormal things become normal.
Wow. Okay, next week, religion, cost of living, Autonomy and Sage. Go out there and buy Dr. Claude Anderson. Anything he writes, just go out and buy some of his material and give it to your kids, give it to your friends. Dr. Claude Anderson is my man, and I know he's Autonomy's man, and we're saying that we need to place him in the Nubian community. He needs to be on top, on high, and while he is alive and able to still direct us, we need to go to him, because the time has come for us to get that type of leadership.
Absolutely, because we're at the crossroads right now. Either we're going to live or die. We're at the crossroads.
If you think Joe Biden or any other politician is going to save the day for us, that's not going to happen. We'll be waiting until 20 more presidents go by. We've got to come together to this time with the right leadership, and this is why we continue to speak of the name Dr. Claude Anderson. I can't think of anybody better to lead the Nubian people in this time that we're in. If you agree with that, like, share, and subscribe, and let's talk about how we can, I don't know how many more years we have of Dr. Claude Anderson. I don't know. He's getting older now, doing less appearances. But I know that this man, we're going to continually give him love on this podcast. No question about that.
Beautiful.
We'll see you next week. Autonomy and Sage.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you, brother.
Love you, man.
Peace to all the compassionate and merciful people of the world, and in particular, Nubian people.